Welcome back, my lizard friends. We are still in Cirque, in the Elder Scrolls Online. I'm Sando, your most favorite lizard person on the internet, and we're trying to find out what's going on in the Cirque. People are sick. We got some mysterious curative from a group that called themselves the Mallborn. And now that we got into the quarantine, we find that it's full of plague casts. Some type of zombie creatures that attack everything and everyone that they see. Yeah, and we'll try to find out what's going on with this Smallborn and their weird curative. It doesn't seem to cure much. So, they set up their headquarters in this graveyard. Something seems to be really
By
off.
the three, this place chills me to the bones. Let's see if we can find my brother and then get out of here.
Don't come any closer. I don't want you to get the plague.
What are you doing in here?
I'm waiting for my next dosage of curative. 1 or 2 more doses, and I expect to be back on my feet in no time.
Not so sure about this.
Don't touch anything, and try not to breathe too deeply. The affliction, it's everywhere. Everywhere!
The affliction?
The plague. It's in the air and the water. It's even on your skin. Crawling, burrowing, getting deep inside. Don't you understand? It's not safe. And they're watching us. Always watching.
Okay.
All right then. Now I feel icky all over.
Please. More curative. I need more curative.
Can you tell me what's going on here?
The Nostrum. She comes and she goes. I don't think the curative is really helping. But she said I need to get ill before I get better. It feels like I'm burning up.
That's the second
Those
time.
Nyx fleas promised they would help. They promised they had a cure.
It's like the second time that we hear the sentence, you have to get sick before you get better.
As soon as I get well, I'm going to join the Mallborn. I want to help others, just as they helped me.
Don't bet on getting better.
I feel wrong. Not just sick. Something's very wrong.
Yeah, and you should listen to that feeling. First of the afflicted began arriving almost immediately after the quarantine was set up. I don't know how we spread the word so quickly, but people seem to be coming from all over the region for the promised cure. I now have the opportunity to observe the afflicted through all stages of the Lotus Plague. It begins with a mild fever and a random bodily aches and pain. Oddly, afflicted suffering this stage of the plague have terrible hunger that cannot seem to be satisfied. This stage of the plague lasts anywhere from 3 to 7 days. The second stage of the plague is marked by a high fever, overall weakness, and the appearance of open sores upon the body. Pain grips the afflicted, making most normal activities impossible to perform. During this stage of the plague, the afflicted appetite disappears, and it is a struggle to make them eat and drink sufficient amounts of food and water to maintain their body weight. This stage of the plague can range from 7 to 14 days. If the afflicted doesn't throw off the plague during this period, chances of survival drop to almost 0. The third stage of the plague marks the beginning of the end for the afflicted. The open sores now cover most of the afflicted's body, which burns with such heat that the afflicted becomes delirious and subject to hallucinations. The afflicted refuses to eat or drink, and any kind of movement results in agony. This stage of the plague is relatively short, lasting from 1 day in extreme cases to as long as 5 days for those unfortunate enough to hang on. The final stage of the Lotus Plague is perhaps the most fascinating. Of course, many of the afflicted simply die when the plague has run its course, and the death is extremely painful and heartbreaking to watch, but an increasing number of afflicted don't find a natural end. These unfortunates transform into seemingly undead creatures that the common folk call plague husks. These creatures appear to be mindless engines of violence and the intent of destroying all life they encounter. Can you imagine an army of such creatures? Priceless. Ah, the crates of Accelerant have arrived. Now we can increase the pace of the affliction. Time to treat my patients. Ah, that's the proof we needed. They are causing this affliction. Nope. That's exactly the type of proof we needed. It's a so-called curative. Curative Badge 6. Useless. Absolutely useless. The curative isn't going to meet our mistress' demanding standards if it simply kills the person who ingests it. If we were trying to create a new poison, then we'd be wildly successful, but that isn't the task at hand. Reduce the amount of dried corpse blood and try again. And watch the temperature in those cauldrons. One of them is dangerously close to boiling over, and I, for one, have no desire to be drenched in a spray of boiling curative. So... dried corpse blood. Ugh. That sounds awful even to me that I don't have any idea of alchemy or healthcare. But I don't think it's what you do if you want to cure someone. More plague husks. The more we learn, the more we know. So they are causing this on purpose to the people. There's a lot of those plague casts walking around. So I don't even want to imagine how much trouble they cause. It was like a live test on living beings. And that's just really terrible. Curative Badge 15. This badge of the curative was so close to perfect. Unfortunately, it was a tad too effective. The afflicted turned into violent husks far more quickly than we had hoped for at this point in the process. Perhaps this particular mixture will be useful later when we need a quick influx of undead soldiers, but for now, this badge won't suffice. An interesting side effect of this version of the curative concerns the level of aggressiveness demonstrated by the newly created husks. They turn immediately violent and consider everything that moves to be an enemy or food. These husks also demonstrated a total disregard for the husks and reply when we were working in close proximity to them. They attacked our workers as soon as they saw them, indicating that the sense no longer masks us from husks created with this version of the curative. Let's increase the cooking time by 1 hour and decrease the amount of wolf bile by 25%. Ooh. But I mean, they're creating this plague casts on a purpose as using them as some kind of army, but the more I come to think about it, like, you can't control them, right? Like, there's no way that any of this is controllable at all. Like, they can't really expect that they can just, like, use them for their own purposes. Like, how can you use them? They are not listening or doing anything you tell them.
Lisa, my brother, what happened to you?
Oh no.
By the three, I fear the plague consumes you, brother.
Arona, what are you doing here? It's not safe.
The Maulborn attacked us, and the afflicted are turning into plague husks. Oh, Dathesum, this is dreadful.
The Maulborn are spreading the plague. For some reason, they want everyone to become afflicted. They're not healers. They're monsters.
That we already learned.
The low-dose plague. I have no idea why. But it's clear to me that the Maulborn curative is actually the source of the disease. Whatever they're planning, you have to stop them.
You need to heal her.
That's not important. Get my sister out of here and stop the Molborn. Destroy the so-called curative and put an end to that mad woman Nostrum Breva.
I don't think Iona will leave your side.
Then convince her. I'm too far gone. I don't want to become one of those things and hurt my sister. Besides, she's a Redoran. She has a duty to the Cirque and its people.
No, there's still time to try to help you. I don't leave you behind like this.
You are as hard-headed and stubborn as my sister. Vivek, damn you. Fine. Do what you must. But if the unthinkable occurs, I expect you to stop me before I hurt anyone.
We can do this, no problem.
Detheesum, you swit! We're not leaving without you.
Batch
I
19.
hope you know what you're doing. I could become a plague husk at any moment.
Ah, finally perfection. The
My
latest...
decision is final. Besides, you're sick, and your judgment can't be trusted. I'll get us out of here while our friend deals with the Molborn.
Are we done? Can I? The latest batch of curative starts the affliction, progress the plague at a reasonable rate of speed, and then turns the afflicted into plague 70% of the time. Now we have a superior version of the plague and an effective way to dispense it. Of course, handing out curatives can be a slow process, especially in the larger towns and cities. Before we begin operations in Mournhold, we'll need a faster way to disperse the plague. But that's not my task at this moment. Besides, I'm sure that alchemist Merdindril is tackling this problem even as I write these notes. I should also record that I've protected the husk sand. Perfected the husk sand, of course. We can once again walk among the husks without fear of being attacked. I might even have an idea about a soap to remove the sand after we're finished. We'll begin making larger batches of the curative immediately. In no time at all, we should be able to give everyone at the Cirque and in the immediate vicinity a dosage of the curative. Don't worry, my mistress, everything will happen just as you have foreseen. Whew.
I'll get my brother out of here. Thank you for helping me find him.
No.
I know you can take care of yourself, just make sure you give these Molborn a taste of their own bad medicine. For me.
I found a note. It mentioned something about plague husk scent.
Plague husk scent?
Ah,
What in the name?
that we already know, okay. So she takes care of her brother. We're taking care of this crazy alchemist. So they created this, was it? I mean, it's unclear if it was like some kind of
All right, we're done here. Pack everything up. We need to regroup with the other Molborn cadres and deliver this plague to the rest of Deshan.
You were lucky last time. How many times do I have to remind you? If you're going to work with the plague husk, you need to wear the husk scent. Ah, that's what we already read. It's husk scent, okay. So we pour it over us. And then we can walk through them like this. A substance reminiscent of the Morban curative fills the discarded cask. Okay. Can't even call it curative because it's not, like it's the opposite of a curative, it's the thing that causes all this. So they want to create more of this zombie-like creatures. Ooh.
We need to get these traits to Nas. You can't stop the Molborn, you fool. We are the cleansing fire that burns across Morrowind.
You are nothing, just some crazy idiots. And this ends exactly here. Nostrum Breva, we continue to experiment with new strains of the plague and our work at Sakumoa has proven invaluable. The Magistrix is quite pleased. The Cirque has been a good testing ground. Weak and sickly individuals who arrive, some already infected with previous strains, beg for cure. We are more than delighted to welcome them in, giving them false promises of cleansing their illness. Even the House of Redoran and Lalu are convinced we are here to help. They so want to believe. As for the plague itself, it has become quite potent. Unfortunately, survival rates remain shorter than we had hoped. If we want to cause a true outbreak, one that could level an entire city, we must continue to strengthen the magic and test it. The next step will be to raise the level of experimentation. Word has already come that one of our Kaedros may have developed the purest form of the sickness yet. I'm eager for the arrival of these shipments. A larger town will suffice for the next experiment. I recommend Narcissus. The Nalu fools will never suspect a thing. I need to get in touch with my contacts here to let them know to be ready. Alchemist Murden Drill. There's another note. Against false gods. Fear not the false gods, for their very presence is a lie. Abducted power ripped from artifacts undeserving. Worship received from mindless cattle doing what they're told. You bow to them not out of reverence, not out of respect. You bow to them out of fear, out of unknown truths left untold. But why? Because it is right? Because it is what is expected of you? The people of this land bathe in the filth of corruption and deceit. A filth of their own making. We will give them the cure, all blind and tainted. We will show them that their gods are not as powerful as they believe. The Morborn will rise to purify this land in a true image of the princess to cleanse this soil of all falsehood. May the tree feel our wet. May the tree be cleansed of their lies, for the Morborn should bring forth a reckoning. Okay, so it's as I said, it's all about tree and the deep hate on the tree as the living gods for some reason. Whew. This is a hard thing to witness. I hope there's still some hope for these people. Ah, that's the alchemist that we promised some batch of the curative.
Were you able to acquire any samples of the Molborn curative? I'm really curious to see what the elixir is made of.
Here you go, but I'm pretty sure this elixir won't cure anything.
I've been watching the townsfolk who received the curative and came to the same conclusion. But I'll be able to tell for sure after I analyze the elixir. Take this. It isn't much, but I'm sure you didn't have too much trouble in there.
You have no idea.
Thanks for your help. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some alchemical wizardry to perform.
Have fun. I hope you can come up with something nice that helps the people here. Hey, they both made it out.
Glad to see you managed to make it out of the quarantine too. Does that mean those Molborn fetchers have been dealt with?
The Morborn are finished, at least here at the Cirque. How's your brother?
Not well. Alchemist Naline fancies herself something of a healer, and she's been working with the Thesum and the other afflicted. Hopefully she'll devise a treatment for them soon.
Is the alchemist making any progress?
Some. She seems confident at least. But what do I know of drafts and elixirs? But tell me, do you think the Molborn pose a threat to the rest of Deshawn?
I'm not sure. It certainly sounds like their plans included more than just a Cirque.
That's what I'm thinking as well. But maybe your efforts were enough to put an end to all that. For now at least, the Cirque is safe. Take this as a thank you for helping us.
You're welcome.
The Molborn have been dealt with, but I could use a little more of your help if you don't mind.
Of course, what do you need?
It's my brother. He's still ill and his condition has taken a turn for the worse. Naline is working to develop some kind of treatment, but she could use your assistance. She can't work at her alchemy table and also gather the components she needs.
What should I do?
Talk to Naline. Let her know I ask you to assist her. She can be a little aloof, but she'll tell you what she needs you to do.
I talked to Naline right away. Ah, and she's also there, like, really close. The system doesn't look good, but you kinda...
I'm glad to see you and Narona were successful. That young woman's got more guts than she knows what to do with. but I can't fault her intentions.
You seem to be much better in a really short time. That's like a miracle cure.
Yes, thank you, and I feel better as well. I guess I really didn't have the Lotus Plague after all.
I guess. You certainly don't look like you did. So, lizard friends, before we're going to work with her on a cure, that's it for today. The episode ends, and in the next episode we're going to find out if we can maybe help them cure the Chisum and maybe the other afflicted too. That would be great. So I hope you come back for the next episode tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourself and stay healthy and keep working. Thank you very much for your support, for your likes, for your subscriptions, for dropping by and saying hello, either in the comment section or in the Instagram that is linked below this video. See you next time. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great time and thank you very much. Bye bye.